Good morning, everybody. Welcome to DYOR Live. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking, here in the digital media universe. So glad to be hosting another episode of DYOR Live here on the DYOR Media Network. Once again, we're coming to you from the great state of Illinois and the great state of Connecticut here in the United States. But next week, I'll be back in Canada, but this week, the USA. Anyway, it is September 3rd, if you can believe it. The summer is almost over here. Kids are going back to school. We celebrated all the laborers for Labor Day, and that's the official end of summer. But here we are bringing you another episode of this show and all of the good stuff to it. And I'm going to be talking a lot about today about, well, not much, because today is Technical Tuesday, and the master of ceremonies for that, none other than my co-host, Pedro Garcia. What's happening, Pedro?
Hey, what's up, guys? Hope everybody's doing well. It is good to have everybody on here talking and just they do best, which is reviewing and interacting with us and giving me content to go look at. So guys, if you guys have any small projects, anybody that you can go and bring them in, man, come and bring them in. I'll check out their project. They can use the little bit of airtime we put in for them so they can sit there and shill that for their project. One thing about me, I will go through and I will be honest though. So if it is falling, I will let them know, okay, it's falling. But also I can give them through using Fibonacci sequences. All right, this potentially could be your bottom. These are major.
Fibonacci?
Yes, sir.
Does anyone actually understand the Fibonacci, or do they just say it? I've seen so many people online, analyst type guys, be like, well, the fib this and the fib that. And I'm like, he described it differently than the last time he did it. Or she. I've seen a she do it wrong. And frankly, I don't fully understand it, but I can tell when they're not telling the same story.
Yeah. Well, the key is when you're using fibs, right, is that each person uses them different, right? And you can do them different, right? Like you can go from this high to this low for a future push-up, right? To find the high to low to see where it could potentially go. Right? Like that's, there you go. Find the high, the low for the potential where it will go. So that in itself will give you, like, and I can pull it up right here, which I think is really interesting, right? Like here's the high, here's the low right here, boom, right? And then now we go up to find out where.
Oh, I don't have your chart on yet, Pedro. I was doing a little bit more social media stuff. Welcome to those joining us on X. Once again, everybody, we're trying to build up our X following as that platform kind of explodes in popularity.
Absolutely.
For the 59th time in its life. But once again, it's still hard. It's still hard, even though their streaming platform is still better on X now, and a lot of people are using it very successfully. It still takes an extra click to get through the comment section. You got to click the tweet itself instead of just watching in the tweet. Preferably right-click it and open up in a new window. And then you have the comment screen, which is just like the YouTube thing. And you can participate in the discussion here with us. So thank you to everybody watching on the great platform of X. That, unfortunately, Bruno, our sponsor from World of Rewards, our former sponsor from World of Rewards, I can't watch because he is in Brazil. The dictator of Brazil, which ironically is not the president, is the chief of their Supreme Court, who has granted himself a supreme executive, judicial, and legislative powers, just by the fact that he told everybody he has those powers, and everyone believes him because he starts throwing people in jail. So Bruno, hopefully you're watching on a VPN, but you get an $8,000 a day fine for using a VPN in Brazil now.
Oh,
it's the thing I've ever heard in my life. It literally, Lord Voldemort down there is ruining the whole country over a spat of censoring. He wanted X and all the other platforms to censor his political opponents, and all the other Facebook and so forth said, "Okay, we'll do that." And Elon says, "No, we're not going to do that because you don't have the power." It says right in the Constitution that nobody shall. Literally, it says in their Constitution, nobody shall censor any type of speech, political, religious, or anything whatsoever. It says it in their Constitution. Yet the Lord Voldemort down there is like, well, But that's not misinformation. We can censor misinformation. And like it says, Elon's like, no, it says you can't censor any speech. Any means any. Oh, well, it's interesting to watch the free speech thing shake itself out down there.
Well, it's going to be sooner or later he's going to overstep his boundary. People are just going to get enough, just fed up, but they're like, dude, you're done. Like,
Yeah,
and we
but people
see
don't
this.
do that anymore. I mean, they just vote the party line. They don't want to interrupt their own lives. They're afraid of getting called out, or arrested or something like that. Even the media in Brazil now. It turns out that most of the media in Brazil relies on government funding. And so as soon as they start squawking off, the government calls and says, oh, you didn't need that extra $1 billion in funding, did you? And they're like, well, we better listen to the government. It can't be a worse scenario. There's no worse scenario than government funding the media. Just doesn't have it. It happens in Canada, if you can believe. I mean, I realize the U.S. government funds PBS a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit. And it's somewhat of a disaster. In Canada, one of the major news channels, CBC News, it's the biggest, best well-funded media in Canada, is subsidized by the government for billions of dollars, all on the grounds that it's culturally needed to keep Canadians abreast of the news. But it's so liberal. It's so liberal and one-sided, and they just crank through employees like almost every journalist in Canada. Their first job was CBC, and then they're like, well, I got to get out of this place. It's just, and of course, it just leads to complaints from everyone else. First of all, if they're a major player and they're competing but getting government funding, that's not fair. And it's caused the prices, because they're government funded, they have to be unionized, and so their productivity is really low. So they have way too many employees, cost too much, and that union contract spreads to the other groups who have a hard time dealing with the costs of that. Disaster. And it's turning out to be a disaster in Brazil. And Pedro, you know what else is turning out to be a disaster?
BTC?
Bitcoin. Bitcoin.
It is. Well, I think this is also really important to point out right now, and it's a relationship.
Hold on. We just got to let you know that the rock has moved across, and Jesus is once again arisen from his cave.
Oh, what's up, Jesus? He is risen. He is risen indeed. What's up, dude? How you doing, man? It's good to have you. And I hope your weekend was well and you had a lot of sales going on. I know that this is a good weekend for sales, right?
Yeah, hopefully that was a good car weekend.
Yeah, typically it is. It's good for all sales, typically for Labor Day, simply because people get that day off. It's a 3-day weekend, and there's a lot of people driving. It's the last weekend of the summer, so it's like people are sitting there going, you know what, this car's been kind of acting up on us. Let's go buy a new car for the winter. And so I know a lot of times, you find good deals. Great. So that is interesting. Can you guys hear me?
We can.
Excellent. So my amazing, beautiful speaker system just decided to fall. So that is great.
I thought we heard something. There's that rare Connecticut earthquake that just shook everything off there.
And I hope that it did not break the other connections for my trading system. Anyways, so here we go. Let's go to focus here.
We're starting out good here today with
oh yeah. Everything actually worked really, really well today coming on, right? Like fingers crossed. And Dara Lawton, ¿qué pasa, señor? Hope you're doing well. It is real good. So let's look at Bitcoin here real quick. So we've talked about this now for a few weeks here with BTC, of us going up to, we went down to go up to go down, right? We can see here that at the beginning of the week, we did go up, where we saw it kind of go down on Sunday, push back up, get supply off of this 8-period moving average here. So you can see as we literally hit it, then the next day came up and took out all of the weekend's players here in this supply area. Excuse me. Let me repost it. That should not be red, or that should not be green. That should be, oh, thank you to,
Oops.
thank you again to them. And they just now have taken out more. This, I gotta admit, I really
Hard to see
dislike.
this chart here, Pedro.
Well, I really dislike trading view now, because they're just, I don't know if they're just hard up for money and they're faltering, and so now they're kind of almost nickel and diming you, or if they're just being douches and just saying, we're not hard up for money, we just want money, we just want money. So potentially that's what it could be. I don't know, but they're taking a lot of.
Jesus asks, do you see any significant drops coming for Bitcoin? Yes, we
Yeah,
are
we're about to
predicting
go over that.
And
Yes.
Pedro's about to talk about it, but we're gonna prime you by saying yes. Hold on to your shorts.
Oh yeah. All right, guys. You can check right here that we hit this apply area here, and I thought I put this in, but I guess I did not. Boom. Oh yeah, I put it up here. I apologize. Boom. I expected this to go up to a little bit higher and then sell off, but we did not. There we go. Okay, so we hit a nice little sell off here. We've now put in some a lower high here. So we had our high here, or we had a lower high here. We put a lower low here. And we put this lower high here to continue us to go down into this area. Now we talked about this over the last weeks. You know, where is Bitcoin going to come down to? And I said we should see a rally off of this area where I've had this, and we've talked about this multiple times, on that 57,000 area to that 54,000 area. After the big sell-off, I said expect us to come back down, and it based off of if we were going to have a lower high here, right? I thought we were going to come up into this level here, but we did not. We fell shy of that, and now we're coming down. Now this is key point here. If we start to go below this low here, which you see right here at that 56,325-ish area, this is a significant moment. This level here, I'm going to put this purple. Boom. Text. No, not text. Style. Let's make this purple. And I'm going to make this little dashy here. The reason why that's important, because there's liquidity in this level here. And if it doesn't hold at this level, which is that 56,222 or 220 area, then it's got to go lower. Okay. If there's not enough liquidity where we don't see a good bounce off of here, then we're going to go lower into this 49,000-ish area, where we'll see it bounce off of the 400 period moving average here. On top of that, we have a demand zone sitting there. So we should expect this. So this is kind of like that line in the sand. I don't expect to see this zone here, which is a 4-hour zone that I have marked here, to hold, simply because we did not put a higher enough high in these lower levels at these levels here. So for me, I'm looking more or less for a sell-off into these lower levels here, because we didn't really put in a higher high in above this high, this local high sitting right here. So excuse me one second. So for me, I'm looking at that area going, okay, I expect to see a lower low below here, if not going down into these 49,000 mark area. So be ready. I do. Then with that, we should then see the altcoin start to see some sell-offs. So that's what I'm expecting in a nutshell. We saw ETH sell off, right? As we're coming down into these lower levels. Here we go, accidentally did that. These lower levels should indicate, as we come down into here, if I start to see like big buy days like this, right, with a ton of volume coming in, preferably I'd love to see real volume like this at these levels here. But if I'm seeing good volume coming in onto ETH at these lower levels, I'd expect to see ETH then, even though Bitcoin is selling off, expect to sell off. But these areas of buy-ins will literally become areas where they will want to push through to go higher. So that's where then you want to be paying attention to for ETH. I'm expecting ETH to go lower down into that 17. It was funny. I was listening to somebody this weekend, and go ahead.
ETH is going to be doomed.
Well, I'm going to say doomed. It's just that I think there are buyers at lower levels. The institutions, again, they started that ETF, or not ETF. ETF. I was thinking of NFT. Sorry, ETF up in these levels here, right? So like they're buying low support towards the end of the first quarter. As we move into it, I'd expect to see us to hit some really, really, really big movements up, right? So they can sit there and tell their clients, hey, look, I know it would look kind of scary, but look at where you're sitting at now. We dollar cost average you into these lower levels. In addition to it, they're big clients like, let's say, I don't know, trying to think, like Tom Cruise. That's another. He's a ton. He has a ton of money. Like he just straight up has a ton of money, right? And
No doubt about that.
Right. So when he gives his money to, let's say, BlackRock,
Pedro, he's got Top Gun money.
That's good. Talk to me, Goose. Talk to me, Goose. Dude, that is still like my all-time favorite show, or not show, movie, bro. Like,
yeah.
Dude, dude, and I hear that song, and it still gets me like, yeah, bro, we're going to war.
Good day, Roland Rod. Welcome to Technical Tuesday here on DYOR Media Network and the Top Gun Marketing Channel. If you've got a project you want us to review, tell your community, hey, come bomb the comments on the show, and Pedro and I will go over the project. Thanks for joining us. I really appreciate it, Roland. Or Rod, or Rod Roland, or RR.
Where do you go? Do you go by Hot Rod Roland? I like that one. Or Roland Hot Rod. Have you ever seen that Have you ever seen that movie? One of the funniest movies, the Hot Rod. Anyways,
reminds me of the song Hot Rod Lincoln. Son, you're going to drive me to drinking if you don't stop driving that Hot Rod Lincoln.
Lincoln. There we go. All right. Hey, Roland, go get your crew to come in, and we will go through and check it out.
Pedro is talking about Bitcoin going down, ladies and gentlemen, and a lot of you are like, "Oh, I don't want it to go down. I don't want it to go down." Remember, you can make money on the market moving in any direction, ladies and gentlemen, including down, and you do that. You can't. It's very difficult to make money on it going down and using DeFi unless you use the specialized exchanges, which are it's still not quite mature enough, but you can definitely have some good sex. Use a good sex. I mean, in other words, a centralized exchange. And our show sponsor, BitFi, can do that for you. If you join using this little QR code right below me here, you can... if you deposit 100 USDT, you can get 100 USDT in extra trading money. So you can start out trading with 200 USDT, and you can go short. Now, you don't have to start using leverage. You can do that later if you want, but you can literally just go and say, I want to sell some Bitcoin because I think it's going down. And if it goes from 56,000 to 55,000, you may make a percentage of that $1,000 change based on how much, we'll just call it a wager, but based on how much you sold for. So you can go short without having to be an experienced trader, without risking a lot of money because you're not going to use leverage, but you can still sign up and try it out and participate when Pedro says, hey, the market's going to go down. You can test Pedro out. That's what you can do. And you can come back and say, Pedro, that shit went up, man. I lost money. Or you can come back and say, woo, champagne, we're going to Ibiza, ladies and gentlemen.
I actually had a kid in my old community that made like $60,000 to $100,000 off of that short for the merge. Because I remember I was on my channel at the time. And so I was, explaining how much. And the kid, he already has money, was a coder and stuff like that. Good guy, though. And so he basically went through and he shorted the market and made a ton of cash, like a ton of cash. And so I was like, dude, congrats. Good for you, man. And I think he paid off his house with it, which was cool. This was during
absolute craziness.
A real cool guy.
Welcome, Mrs. Pixel.
Oh, snap,
Welcome,
Miss
Mrs. Pixel.
Pickles here.
Mrs. Pixel, if you and or Mr. Pixel have not signed up for our little show sponsor here, please do it. I'm not telling you to do it. I'm asking you nicely to do it with holding a baseball bat, slapping my hand. But like I said, we did it over the holiday weekend. I just checked our affiliate screen. We had another person sign up. Nice. I think we have a total of 5 now people that have signed up for BidFi, which is amazing since we've had a couple of hundred unique viewers. You can get free stuff. No KYC. Works in the US and in Canada. They require a KYC once you get up to the $10,000 levels and that type of stuff. And if you deposit and withdraw from a bank, your bank is KYC'd anyway, so they don't care about that. And it's a good little platform, and we're very thankful that they generously sponsored us for our blockchain futures convention in Toronto 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago now. And so we want you guys to sign up. That's all the pontificating I have about that today. But just so you know, when Pedro says the market's going down, this is your method for making money when the market goes down, right here.
Absolutely. So yeah, I'm expecting us to see us go down in these lower levels. Now, again, I don't sit there and try to micromanage your guys' trade. Always have a stop in, I show you how kind of I trade and how I look at the markets. I use moving averages, and a lot of times I wait for pullbacks into like the 50 period moving average, the 100 period moving average on the higher time frames, and then I use my smaller time frames to basically capture. And I'll wait for seller wicks. Like here, we're going up, and then we start to put seller wicks in, and then I go down. Right? I wait for the market to put. To basically put no buyer wicks in at the bottom as we're moving up.
AI
so
Wolf.
It's easier to cut through and go down. So that's typically how I play these markets.
Thank you for joining us at work.
And you can see here, I cycle through the higher time frames, which is basically the monthly, weekly, daily, right? Which is what I'm waiting for pullbacks into. And then to see us then I take, a counter trend trade, or I may go with a trend trade, but I'm not looking to, get a 5 to, 10x. I'm looking for, because it's a counter trend trade, a 3 to 4x at the most, and these trades compared to my risk, right? And so for me, as I'm looking at that, that's really what I'm looking for, right? Is I want to see, like here, like we'll use this for example. I sat there, I said, you know what? We're going to go down here to continue up into the supply. So from here, I would sit there and say, I want to start seeing demand wicks as we're moving up. Boom, 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 demand wick, boom, no real supply wick, come back down, demand wick. I'm seeing demand wicks more
Where's
than
your
I
mouse?
see. Right here. Can you see it?
Oh. What time frame is that you have up there?
This is the 5 minute. So I'm kind of just going over. Yeah.
I'm so used to watching the day chart that you put up. I was like, I'm so confused here.
So I like to use these type of strategies to get in on a higher time frame pullback or continuation in the trend, right? So for example, like the Bitcoin has been showing weakness, so I use this, which is a higher time frame supply zone, and also
sorry, Jesus is pointing out that you used to mention that it would get right down there and just tap. Just tap it.
Yes, tap. Yes, exactly. Yes, thank you, Jesus. Right. So we've gone over this a couple of times. It's in the repertoire of videos that we do. But we talk about this. Again, we're consolidating today, right? And this short, you're like, well, how do you know this was going to go down, right? Well, let's look at that here. Look, here is a daily candle where we are pulling back into a moving average, and that pullback is also in conjunction with a bunch of sellers, right? So I will go I'll connect a 4 hour, like a 4 hour, 3 hour. Typically I use a 4 hour, 8 hour, 2 hour zone for myself in relationship to a daily zone, potentially 8-hour, right? Unfortunately, TradingView are douches, so they won't give that stuff to you anymore. Anyways, enough with all my rant on there. But you can see here that we came back, pulled back into a level, and we sold off. And so to me, I look at that and I go, okay, it's still respecting supply zones. It's still respecting areas of supply that will most likely push the market into a direction. And so that's what I look for when I'm sitting there and I'm trying to trade something that I'm looking at, and it's something that's not hard, but it's not technical. There's not a lot to it, but it's hard because you have to have defined.
Thank you, Mrs. Pixel, for smashing that like button. For the rest of you, smash it.
Like I'm not going to, like, if it hit my zone here and it kept going up, I'm getting out. Now, potentially it could stop me out and then continue down, right? But you've got to sit there and go, I'm not going to hold on to this zone here if it breaks my zone here. So like I'm out of this trade. And a lot of times people have a hard time being wrong. Like, I'm cool with being wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. The market's always right, right? Like, it is always right. So because of that, I'm always now considering, where do I sit there? Where do I play, right? And so that's why I like playing pullbacks, right? Especially on a major trend. Right now we have a trend down. We have lower highs and lower lows. So you can capitalize on that. Or like, here's our zone we talked about. I've talked about this zone here now multiple times. Wait for us to come back down and we should see a push up, right? And so we came up into that 8 period. Well, you can sit there and look, well, how do I get in long off of this zone? I will show. Boom. As we came down into this area, could have got in right here, right? Where we saw it bounce off. And then as it puts in and starts to continue up, you then mitigate your loss and you bring up your stop. Many times, many of you guys see how I trade on my Twitter account, where I post many of my trades. Actually, I probably post maybe 5% of my trades on my Twitter account, which a friend of mine said, you need to start posting more. So, and then interacting with my people who make a comment, which
that's a good point. It really works doing that.
Really
By the
does.
very fact that we have all these chumbalones watching us now. Why? Because we interact with them. Welcome AI Wolf to the show. So smash the likes. Please do that. And we're not going to, he's got a new project that apparently he's working on. We'll just call it FUQ. Dr. FUQ Toki. I'm allowed about one FU and one SH per episode before YouTube starts getting unhappy, because I have to rate these things, ahead of time, as our show is safe for advertisers and stuff like that. And then you get a couple, and they don't mind the occasional FU and that type of stuff, but the repeated use of it, Mr. AI Wolf, will get me banned from YouTube. No, it won't get me banned. They just get unhappy with you and lower your advertising ratings. But it's an interesting project, and AI Wolf's going to be talking about it a lot coming up, probably, I bet.
Oh yeah, let's get it.
As I say, I think he's the hardest working man in crypto,
dude. Nonstop, dude. What is his X account? What are you at now, my friend? Are you at like, it's like 40,000?
No, remember he got hacked.
Oh yeah, but dude, But he climbed up. Like, here's the thing: he climbed up. So yeah,
he got a bunch from the. He got a bunch. He's telling me he got a bunch from the Kendu people. He had got in with those guys somehow and got like 3,000 or 4,000 followers from Kendu.
Yeah, he's about 33,000 now.
We'll talk Kendu on this show, AI. If you post in their wherever you can get them and bring them on.
Oh, absolutely.
We'll talk Kendu all day.
All day long. Actually, I do like their stuff, man. I think they got a lot going on. And then what's happening with Shib and them.
He's at 33K now.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's at 33K. Yeah. Like, I'm looking at it right now as we speak. So it's pretty impressive. But They came in for Technical Tuesday. So let's talk about Technical Tuesday here. So right now, as the market came down into our zones that I bring up here, right, we see it start to push. So what you can do is you first put, because we don't know how far it's going to go, right? So your smaller time frame allows to get into that market, but on the higher time frame, you need to make sure that you have a very small risk, right, as we're moving, right? So I'm going to put my risk down in here. It's a big target. I don't know how far it's going to go, but as soon as I start to see bullish, where a bullish candle is this right here, where I see it push up and engulfs another candle. So for me, when I see that type of movement, I'm like, okay, I got in on a good spot, and it was a pretty good volume as it pushed up, right? So then I move my stop up to basically below this low here of this candle. So now I've mitigated my spot by almost like 50x, 25x. Now I wait, and I just basically wait for this thing to climb up to a zone area that I indicate, that I just sat there and I look for and say, okay,
Hey,
looks
I
like I'm
will
just going to sit there and play
check
around
your
and then
Telegram
see a sell off,
DMs for
right?
me.
So from here, you could have put your stop right at this lower level, and then you could have had a great trade, right? So these are these little nuances that I like to look at. Now, as myself, as I'm trading now into this next seller, or until the next leg down, I want to see us playing, like I said, off of some lower time frame SMA, or lower time frame SMAs time frames. So you saw how we sold through my SMAs here. So now I want to see a nice little pullback into this area, which would be that 58,000, 58.6, and that 58,790 or 769-ish area. And if I can see in this area, right, because these are the higher time frame SMAs, if I can see, right, a zone. So I'm looking for a zone. There's no zone here. So I'm looking for that pullback up into that 58.64. And then my stop is going to be basically up at this lower level. So this could see, I could see a pullback up into this level right here, which would be that 59,436 area. So these are just these little market maneuvers that you just need to start kind of paying attention to. Now, the other part behind it, as well as this, you need to have a defined stop, right? Meaning, like, if you can only risk, let's say you're trading something that is very small, okay, your risk can be much higher, but your risk to reward ratio on that could potentially be thrown off, because if you're trading something smaller, let's say it's Shiba Inu, right, and it moves at 10,000th of a penny, right? A lot of times what people do is they'll over exaggerate. They'll have a inverse. Instead of a 4-to-1 ratio, they'll have a 1-to-4 ratio, which is a reverse. So they're just looking for a small put down, but the risk is so high. So, or it's at a greater level. So basically, let's say that we get in on this trade right here, but our risk is right here, and we're only waiting for it to go down to here. Well, that can really hurt you, because if the market goes against you, I'm all about win ratio. If your win ratio is very high, okay, but your risk to reward ratio is very inverse on each other, I don't care how good your win ratio is, you're going to get demolished, and all your wins basically evaporated, because you don't have a correct win to loss, or your risk to reward ratio is off versus win to loss ratio. So those two basically play off each other. So the key is to have a high win ratio with a good risk to reward ratio. Does that make sense?
Yes, but
Good.
apparently the issue is for our viewers right now is like, where do you think their buy zone is in this local market?
Okay, perfect. So in this local trade, I would sit there and say the buy marker is really down at these lower levels of that 50,000 50,871 to that 50,227-ish area, and potentially even further down into the 40,000s. Okay, if this thing starts to pick up legs, and Michael Saylor and the institutions, it really Michael Saylor no longer has a footing in the market. He really can't control the market now that the institutions are going, because he becomes liquidity to them. Like, he's a billionaire, but I don't mean jack, because these guys have literally hundreds of billions of dollars, and on top of that, they are friends with the infinite money generator system, right? Like
the U.S. Treasury. They can borrow money cheap, move the market, pay the money back.
Yeah. So
make profits.
Yes. And so in the same sense, Saylor, not to say that he's not a powerful man, his biggest influence now is the fact that he can influence buyers to get in and get out. But if he keeps doing that, now that the regulators are coming in and not giving a lot of, clarification, they could bust him. Like, and sit there and say he could get filed by the SEC. Now he's in an issue, right, where he's going to now defend himself. And instead of putting that money into the market, they put that money into, which I actually don't think that would happen, because they want Michael Saylor to buy in those areas as it sells off, so that they can short to it, so they can take the other side. All he's going to be is liquidity from now on for their trade. Like, absolutely. They do not like him. He's not their friends. And he's made it very clear, I'm not your friend. And they're like, okay, fair. So, and there's been many great traders in history that have been decimated by banks because they weren't friends. And they're like, I'm going to hold on to this position. I've seen literally where you have these major traders that go against banks or institutions, and institutions will drive that stock to zero just to point out the fact that they are the man and they rule this roost. And so
thanks for joining us. I really appreciate it. It has to go back to work. Thanks for looking at the clan token. We'll get into that one later. So long as you sent me a link there.
Send us links.
AI. Thanks, Walter, for joining us.
Definitely. Thanks for having me. We appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
Jesus says, a buddy of mine says, historically, the first 2 weeks of September are slow. Is that true?
Yeah, typically, yeah. Summer is typically slow in general because everybody goes off to the Hamptons, right? And they're going on vacation and all that other stuff. But of recent, that necessarily haven't been true, simply because can't step away from the market anymore. You have your phones. So if something does start to pick up and there is an opportunity, there can be a sell-off. Typically in those first 2 weeks, if the market, it will either go sideways or basically go up. Okay?
In the house is Marky Mark. Hey brothers, how are you? Hope everyone is blessed. We are blessed today because the market's moving, and if the market's moving, we can make money. Make monies. Welcome Marky Mark to the show. Today's Technical Tuesday. Let us know which project you want us to review.
Absolutely.
Maybe bring some of your community members here and bomb the charts, and that makes us happy to get the view count up and go over your project. Thanks for joining us.
And it was good to have him too. What's up, Mark? We haven't seen you in a minute, man. It's good to have you back. Where you been, brother? Hope you're well.
Yeah, Jesus, Jesus, whatever we're going to call you this week, the Lord and Savior. Remember, I realize you're from Peru, but you've been living in the States now for a while. That Labor Day weekend, really, everyone just F's off. And for most of the U.S. for a long time, school didn't start till after that. But there's been a trend to having school start in August now for some dumbass reason. Even Chicago just switched, and it ruined the whole holiday weekend because you could take 4 or 5 days off, get out of town, and have that last big hurrah at the end of summer. And then the school teachers unions are like, we want to go back in August. We don't want to sit around till after Labor Day. and they don't. It's not, and people say, oh well, they get out in May now, so that works out. So you have more time at the beginning of summer, but you don't, because they add more in-service days, and the Chicago school system still gets out in the second half of June, even when they start in August now. It's the dumbest thing ever. And but still, a lot of people that's a holiday for them. And even today, the first day back, they're like, "Ooh, yeah." Still summer in their mind, and they're not doing much.
It's really
Gary
interesting.
Molinari, thanks for joining us from Clan.
What's up, brother? It's good to have you, man.
I think we're gonna have to go over that chart here soon, Pedro.
Yes, sir. We definitely are.
I'm sending you the
Yeah, especially in California.
link
Jesus,
right now.
like for real. I'll put it like this. Like, I mean, everybody knows. Like, I was special ed, right? Like, I all through high school. I mean, I rode the short bus. Like, you name it. I have no issue with that, right? I'll admit it. I'll be like, whatever, dude. I don't care. Like, but I feel like it's, but talking about the school system in California, dude, like I'm a product of what hooked on phonics worked for me.
You're a product of California. Great. Sean Baltz, I don't know how to pronounce that correctly, but just got here, pulled in here by Marky and AI. Thanks for joining us, Sean. Really appreciate it. We're going to go over the clan chart here in just a minute here. And Jesus was, I was English as a second language. Well, fortunately, you speak the international language of dollars and automobiles, and that transcends all languages. Because what do us guys love? We love two things. We love money and cars. It doesn't matter. I was in the car business for a long time. It doesn't matter how high up someone is in the stature of the client you're trying to sell to. I've sat there with CEOs and chairmen of Fortune 500 companies that have 60 layers of people, all these handlers, all this type of stuff. But as soon as you start talking cars with them, they're like, you're just best friends at a car show or something like that. They're like, blah, 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 and this engine and these wheels and these tires and blah, 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 blah. And you have a different relationship than all the yes men that hang around them in their companies. Yep, you can all speak language, the same language when you talk cars. That's right.
Dude, my biggest, it's a 57 Chevy, step side, cherry red, small block. That is stick shift. Dude, I hear that thing, dude. I'm like, ooh.
Mine's a 63 or 64 Lincoln Continental convertible with the suicide doors. Dude. My grandfather used to have one, and God, I wish he never sold it, but he got a new Lincoln every 2 or 3 years, and it was the car I rode home from after I was born or something like that. Not right after I was born, but shortly thereafter. And I just love those cars, and I loved them, and I almost bought one a long time ago for I could have got it for completely restored running. It was listed at 11,500, and I could have got it for probably 8 to 9. And now you can get, now they're 40, 50, and 60,000 for the ones that are restored. Oh, I'm so pissed I didn't buy it. But I managed to go through it when I wanted to buy that car, I ended up getting divorced, lost my job, and turned 30 at the same time. So that was a bad year for me.
Yeah, most stuff. Wait, so I remember they, Lisa Modesto, right? They stopped graffiti night. They stopped. It's good to have Marky Mark, man. Real good to have you, man. But it was Marky Mark! Oh, snaps! Yes, I remember. You're the guy, dude. Marky Mark has a big following, I believe, on is it Instagram? I forget, man. Shoot, I think maybe I'm wrong, but I think you're the guy that I met over here in Connecticut. I think that's maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I could be wrong. Old school. If you have the right ones, is yeah, man. That is. Man, you get me thinking about it. We're supposed to be talking about
right. We can talk cars all. Oh my God, I could talk cars all day. Oh my God, I love them so much.
I have a Lincoln Navigator that I can't park.
You have a Lincoln Navigator in Madrid, Spain.
City.
That's like saying I drive a delivery truck.
Yeah. Yo, dude, how about the potholes, man? Oh, that's funny.
Dara, out in front of my apartment here, you could park that thing sideways across 9 parking spots and have all the room you want. And it's a 1 minute walk from your basically your bed. America, baby, the home of parking lots and highways.
You know what's funny is like there's gonna become a day where it's like I know there's a lot of stuff that goes along with the cruising, right? Like there is like at least in California there is like gangs and you got to deal with real stuff, right? Like these guys just kind of ruin it for everybody. But I'm like I look forward to the day where you can go back to where you can gather a bunch of people and stare at a bunch of cars and watch them cruise and just enjoy that. Like I remember that going to foster homes, like, and it didn't matter if it was, one foster home or another. Like you would, you all went and watched the cars cruise, and then you would go to like parking lots, like a CVS or like a Rayleigh's that would be on the strip, and everybody would park, and you would all check. Everybody would pop their hoods open, and you just be like, "Dang, bro!" Like. And no matter where you went, don't touch the cars. Just look. You'd be like, as a kid, you're like, I want to touch the shiny.
And we cruised in the town. I grew up in a little town in Ohio, a little farm town. And the main street that went through town, at one end, there was a Burger King. And at the other end, there was a bowling alley. And this is before the days of cell phones and the internet. So you couldn't just text your friends and say, where are we meeting up? You had to cruise the strip. That's why cruising started, not just because people are like, oh, I'm going to get down with my car. It's like, I got to find out what my friends are doing.
Oh, wow.
And so you drive up and down the strip until you see your buddy, and then you stop. You're like, hey, where's everyone partying tonight? Oh, we're all going to Brian's house at 10 o'clock. All right, see you there. And then we'd park in the Burger King. And, same thing, hoods up, doors open. Even if you're borrowing your dad's car.
Yeah, dude, it didn't matter.
And I don't mean your dad's, like, fancy car, because that was a little farm town. There weren't a lot of fancy cars in this town. But even, like, his truck is, like, his 80... back then it would have been like his late 70s square Chevy pickup truck with 3 on the tree, and people love those things. You'd sit there in the parking lot and be like wiping it down, like, yeah, my dad let me drive this. Next thing you know, you're wrecking it, you're scratching it. But that was fun. And then we cruised to the other end to Burger King or to the bowling alley, and that had a big parking lot and an A&W root beer next to it. So that's where the girls wanted to hang out.
Peachtree. That's what we're calling it. Dude, for whatever reason, I can't highlight Jesus and I can't highlight Chuck. I don't know why. I mean, have they been shadow banned or something? That's weird. I don't know.
I don't think so. I grew up in Connecticut too. I'm from a town on the west of Connecticut called Ridgefield. Lived there until I was 12 and moved to Ohio. And that was in the 70s. As in the previous century for all you youngsters. All right, we got a bunch of clan people here. Let's get their chart up there. Let's give them their due.
A bunch of clan people. All right.
Right. I know. Oh, boys.
All right. I'm just going to pull this up here. Oh.
I still can't have a difficult time just even saying that. Clan. Jesus, the clan is one of AI's projects. Shredder's clan or something like that. He's got so many now, I get confused.
Moving average.
Hey, Pedro, crypto chart analyst. Sadly, we haven't met in person, but unfortunately, that's good. You're referring to isn't me.
Okay, I feel like an idiot now. Yeah, my bad, man. You're like,
yeah, but we got a good snaps out of you though for it.
Oh, we did. Oh, snaps. That's weird, dude. Like, I'm a 45-year-old man, and I'm like saying snaps.
Yeah, that's all right. Ladies and gentlemen, while Pedro is bringing up the clan chart and getting it ready and all that, I just want to redirect you back to our new website, or maybe not so new, but our website, DYOR Media.network here, in which it talks about all our different shows on the channel here. Look, our most recent one, it's actually live on the website there, and I'm getting the infinite screen there, but it has lists to all of our other shows, our DYOR live show, my 3 series of Rugged, Ruined, and Wrecked, which I keep gathering information for season 4, but can't find the time to do it. Crypto Chit Chats with Carmen Crypto, and of course my kind of news segments, DYOR Now, along with links to our Full Rant Friday X Spaces and our old Space Lounge AMAs that I'd always like to get going again, but we keep doing the DeFi Dojo segments instead. But anyways, a lot of good content here, and we try to and links to all our socials, and we want everyone to do it because we need the statistics to show people that people are interested in us. And of course, the most important page: sponsor or hire us. Pedro and I have actually put out a bunch of proposals lately to have fairly large sponsorships take us to places that we'd like to go to the Singapore Token 49 show and potentially to Lisbon for the Web Summit show in November. And so we're working on those types of things in order to bring you guys interesting content and all that. But if you have small projects, we, as I say, we whore ourselves out here like any good internet person. For instance, we've been hired to our personnel. I've been hired out to run other people's podcasts. I've been hired to produce other people's crypto events that I didn't appear on camera, just produce them for them. And then Pedro and I have been fortunate enough to be able to be partners with some of the largest regional crypto conferences and take over their live stream and provide expert commentary and that type of stuff. So if you're a project or got something like that, go to our page and figure out what you want. Product placements, segment sponsors, technology sponsors, trade show partners, all that type of stuff. All good stuff. So thanks for letting me, listening to me while I do that. Little sponsor, when I talk about ourselves.
All right. Well,
Marky says, I love the fact that Pedro's forever stuck in the matrix of life with a smile on his face. Well, that's going to be changing here. Well, yeah. I think, I haven't had the comments up here. Yeah, the comment is up. Why didn't that go up? Huh, strange.
Is it breaking again?
Nah, seems to be working. But anyway, let me fix this. X Clan.
Well, while you're doing that, let's go over X Hedridzer's clan.
Shredders.
Shredders. There we go. I see it. Shredders. Okay. She X. Got it. Oh, that's actually really clever. Shredders clan. All right. Does it have anything to do with like Ninja Turtles? Anyways, so looking at this right now, look, you guys are actually on a good little bounce. So that's actually really nice. You guys actually got rid of the Jeets here, which is pretty nice. Big old sell-off, boom, consolidation, decent. And now we're starting to see a pump a little here. So I like this area here of a nice little, I wish I could see more demand wicks as it was like right here. Like you saw, we had a nice little demand wick and then a nice little demand wick. So like looking at this from a standpoint of it could sell off here potentially, right? But the fact is that you guys are kind of above a bunch of areas here right now, which is a good sign saying, you know what, it did. For example, you see right here, we saw the sell-off, but it then reversed that sell-off and said, nah, man, we ain't going to handle this. We ain't going to settle for that. So you see here where it's starting to push up even more. If it gets above this high of the 4 o'clock in morning sell-off, and we start to push up, I'm expecting to see this continue at least to at least to the highs here of the 40336 area here. So that's a good little push. And if you guys can really catapult off of this and really start to push shredders, through whether it's through marketing or whatever, bring in new buyers to push this now to all-time high. And we're talking this could be, and I'll put it like this. This perfectly went from a 2A area to that 400, which shows me that this person, whoever sold off here, is more of a technical trader because they picked almost like a 2x, and then in addition they picked a high number here. So that high number or a round number shows that there could be a potential, like a real trader who's looking to just really make some money off of this. And it looks like they bought in at the lows here as it was consolidating. And a good thing to be able to sit there and see is when you start to see like it descend. So you see this candle was big, this candle was big, this candle was bigger, and then this candle was smaller, much smaller, and then this candle was smaller. All right, that's a good signal letting you know that sellers are dying off. Right, they don't have as much money to sell off, or people have already kind of pulled their money out, and now we're starting to see it consolidate. Right, and then this candle here on this 4 hour just completely demolished all of these. Right, this is how you know, okay, we should then start to see the market push up at these levels. Now your first take profit would have been probably around that 8 period moving average, but as we're starting to see this push up, it's one of those things that you should be sitting there going, all right, dope, let's see if we're following a moving average. And you can see we're already starting to like hold. You can see here as we were selling off, that 8 average was holding, right? And then now you're starting to see it come in, and we're above a lot of moving averages here, which is good. The 50 period moving average on that hourly is below. And additionally to that, you have your 8, which is starting to hold and literally keep you in that kind of push up stage. So there's a lot going on here, but from a standpoint of how far can this go, your first area potentially, you guys might show, again, this is what I want to bring up, bring in a lot of advertising, go out there and advertise for this. So these don't act as resistant levels, right? If you guys know what's going on, you get trending on the DEX tools trending, you get trending on CoinMarketCap trending. All of a sudden now you've got fresh buyers that are going to push this thing and continue it, right? And again, that's what you guys are looking for. So right now this could be a resistance level, but after that you then have this level here, right? Potential. But the reality is this is all is predicated on your guys's shilling ability, right? Getting into spaces, talking about this or that, getting into other organizations and saying, hey, we're a new coin. It all depends on how strong that community can get behind and really push this and basically change the world, as Jerry is speaking right there, right? Strong community, great vision, change the world, right? That's really what we want to sit there and see. And if you can create a almost fanatical push on this, you're going to sit there and see this thing really push. So that's in a nutshell. But you guys are showing, from a technical standpoint, you're showing strength. So that's a good thing for your first 3 days. That's a good thing. So if we can sit there and see this thing push up, continuing, that will be good. Again, like I said, the negative thing is I wish we would have seen it sell off first this morning into the afternoon and then push up. That to me always shows an extreme amount of strength in relationship to what's actually happening. All right, guys, that's it in a nutshell. But good chart, or decent, a good chart on the turnaround aspect here, right? That's the key. So I want to see this rally.
That is the key. If you can keep people interested in the volume there.
Yeah,
and I think that has a lot to do with the community that's here pushing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
As most tokens are, it's around the community until you get them big enough that they kind of sell themselves, like Ken Do and Brett and those types of things. But with AI Wolf going with his new account going from 0 to 33,000 new Twitter followers, well, that certainly helps.
Absolutely.
Marky Mark has had 2 accounts on here today, I've noticed. Thanks, Pedro. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate it. That's the way we like to see it, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to go over your project, bring your people and comment. Pump up our viewer numbers. We still need a couple of more here today. We like to get over 50 for each show and get a lot more likes. So if you're watching right now and you haven't liked it on YouTube, please do so. If you're watching on X, if you're one of the 11, 12, 15 people or so that have watched it on X, hit that share button, retweet it, re-X it, repost it, whatever.
I always tell everybody, look, if you guys have, and I see that Marky Mark is the dev. Hey, if you guys could tell your community to come and like this video, right? And
it's all over their community.
Yeah, guys, hit that like button. Honestly, hit the share button, because what happens is if this video goes viral, and all of a sudden now this thing starts to get slammed and people are watching this. What do we see, right? It's out there, and then they're going to come check out your
New
community.
buyers.
Exactly. So if you guys got a big community, have them like this video, have them share this video, jump on the comments and say, Tom and Pedro rock the mic.
Bum chicka bum 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 chicka bum. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Doom 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 doom. Doom 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 doom. Anyway, so that always helps the video go viral, and then that's able to make that bring in new buyers. So we always try to tell all the communities, look, we're willing to help shill with you, right? And to see what we can make happen for you. If it's a real community and you guys are real about this thing, seeing it change the world, hey man, it helps a lot.
Right next to that subscribe button here on YouTube is the notifications. YouTube famously doesn't, even though you subscribe to someone, it doesn't say when they go live unless they think you want to know about it. But if you go and click that notify button and choose all, then you'll get notified when we go live. And we go live only a couple of times per week. Doesn't bother you. And you'll know when we are live. Also, if you're watching on X, there's notifications there saying all, and especially for video lives, you can choose that as well. We're currently on X. We broadcast under the Striking Balls account, my X account. But as soon as we get some more followers, we're going to switch that over to the DYOR Media Striking Balls, or DYOR Media account. So you don't get notified of when I'm up late at night beating people up on the internet, on X, for saying dumb things. I love doing. Gary says, have a blessed day, guys. Smash that like and subscribe. Clan rules. Thanks very much. Marky Mark says, yes, family, let's force the algorithm to do its thing for the benefit of Tom, Pedro, X-Clan, and those we'd bless the most. And of course, Pedro Garcia says, hit the sub, like, and share button. Pedro, I don't have a lot more time here today. I've got a couple of things. I'm actually onboarding a new client and for the Mrs. Here with Mrs. Striking's business. So I got to be doing that soon.
All right, so let's go over the next 10 minutes, the top 10 here. Okay, does that sound good?
Yep.
All right, guys. So like what I've been talking about earlier, we're coming down into this area of supply or demand.
Which chart you got up now?
This is the Ethereum chart here. So I'm expecting us to continue down, right, at this level here. If this thing continues down, now we saw a decent amount of volume coming in with a smaller amount of seller volume. So buyer volume up, seller volume down. The problem is Bitcoin. It's kind of the opposite of that, right? And it's starting to go down even more. So if Bitcoin really starts to take off, it's going to push down Ethereum. But if Bitcoin goes sideways, we could potentially see a volume push up and back up to these supply areas at these levels here of that 2833 to that 2787-ish area here. So be paying attention to that if it does. And then most likely it will come back and test this 50 period moving average sitting at that 2088 level. So, or 2008.80 level. There you go. All right, let's check out our good old friend BNB. So BNB, honestly, I expected to see something happen with BNB where it should have been pushing up. Realistically, I thought we were going to go higher. We did not. So I was wrong in this level, but we did sell off, and the sell-off area is much higher than what we're seeing with a lot of the other indexes, or not index, excuse me, other top coins of like BTC and ETH. This is showing more strength in this market versus weakness. So this is where I'm sitting there going, is this going to hold? The only thing is I'm seeing more seller wicks than buyer wicks at these levels here. So it will most likely come down to at least test that 400 mark area. But we'll see what happens as we come down into these levels here. But I'm expecting us to see at least come down into these lower levels of at least 461 as well as that 402-ish area. Let's go ahead and go over XRP here. XRP, we saw it have some really good push-ups. It's consolidating again. So is this thing going to continue up? I think we should see it sell off again down into this 48-cent area. We've talked about this at least. 48 to the 43 mark area to find buyers. We'll just go ahead and designate this here real quick. Boom. We'll go daily demand.
For those of you not watching the chat, check the chat out. I put a poll up on the request of Marky Mark.
Upon the request of Marky Mark. Have you hit the like button yet? Look at that. There we go. So, boom.
That's actually a great way to get a little interaction. Just put it right in front of their face. Make sure you hit that like button.
All right, so daily demand. We'll say this is more weak than anything. Here we go. So this is one of those things that you could play this right here. So when the market comes down into this level here, which is sitting at that 49,001 to the 43,000 or 43,328-ish, right? The market comes in. We could see it hold this area, and then you could capture a small trade, what I was talking about earlier, right? So, and then hence make some cash off of it either going up from there, or you could be looking to short this market as we come into that weekly area here. So right now we're hitting this weekly 8-period moving average. First go up, as I always talk about, the beginning of the week, to go down towards the end of the week. This area of 52.60 would be where you would look to get your first target hit with that short as we start to continue down here. So, and then after that, potentially come down to these lower levels where you're looking to finish your trade, and maybe potentially leave like maybe 20% on if we continue down, right? So that's in a nutshell. Again, we are starting off at the new month. So you can see here that this month is coming down, tapping to go up, to go down. So that's one of those things we could be looking at. Let's check out ADA here real quick. ADA is showing good old Cardano. I mean, good old Chuck, dude, with his clapbacks, bro, are so interesting. He's just like,
clapbacks?
Yeah, I guess is that more up here? I guess it could be. It's like, yeah, like, yeah. So like a slap back, or somebody like slaps you back, like you clap back, like you. Like when somebody, like he has all those, trolls that come after him. And so he's just like, F you.
Oh, I thought you meant our viewer, Chuck Jansen.
No, I'm talking.
Charles Hodkinson.
Hods,
I can't say his name properly.
Hod is.
There's no G
Hodgkinson.
in it.
Hodgkinson.
Hodgkinson.
Hodgkinson. Either way, the reason why I say that is literally his statement on here, right? With the founder here. He's always clap. He's notorious for that, right? So it's really interesting to see that they keep selling off on him, though, which is sad. And I'm like, dang it, dude. So, but we came up, we hit the supply, the weekly supply in this level here. We're starting to see a sell-off. The next spot that I do expect us to see is coming tapping this 28 to 29, 28 area. So you could take advantage of this sell-off here, which is pretty nice for you if you're looking to take advantage of it. And then from there, see it push back up in this level, or you take your first or second target here, and then you leave your third target to come see if it continues down into that 23 ish area, right? We've already
What period is that chart? Daily?
This is the monthly, because we're at the new month. Ooh. We're at the new month. That's why, right? So it's going to go through. You see how we went up here first to go down to then continue up, right? I think this here is going to go down to go up, potentially to go down. And that phone is deciding to do its own thing. That is like the weirdest thing. I'm getting like 15 different texts right now while I'm live. But prior to that, I didn't get anything, which is always funny because you're like, don't hit me up at this moment in time. So as the volume goes down here, this keeps now. All right.
Compress that chart a little so we can see more of it. Like
right.
On the vertical. I don't know how you describe that.
This right here. Great.
Yeah, we wanted to see where that's coming down from there.
Yeah, so you can see we hit our supply area here. This was back at the beginning of the year-ish. I said, all right, guys, we should hit these levels up here and then see a sell-off as we move down. And so remember how I was talking about the candles slowing down, right? Getting smaller and smaller.
Right.
So this is where I'm sitting there going, okay, we could be hitting these levels here, or I'm expecting to see a slow down, consolidate to go to that next leg up. So it all depends. If we put a new lower low in, though, that changes things. Okay, that changes a lot. But if this thing stays in this level, as we start to see smaller and smaller candles, then this is when the seller starts to slow down and then push back up, right?
Which candle is exactly a year ago? Which candle is September of 23?
Right here.
Kind of looks almost like a repeat.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can see here, like we were down, boom, we're slowing down and pushed back up. And then you can see how the candle started going slow, lower, you know, like smaller, smaller, smaller. And then if you look up to last year on the daily candle, you can see here that that area, September, October, the consolidation was really small, right? So you can see that this is one of those things you can see it consolidate. Either it's going to drop below here or it's going to rally up. Okay. So it's just, is it consolidating to go up? Is it consolidating to continue down? Is what we're always trying to see what's actually happening. Here, I think it hasn't slowed down. I think that's why I think we have these lower levels here, because you can see on the daily chart here that the candles aren't necessarily, they're about the same equal size here, right? And so this is why I feel like the next level down here for ADA is down at that 29, 28 area. So it's one of those things to be paying attention to. Let's check out Doge here real quick.
Dogecoin.
It's a new month here, so you can see Doge did definitely go up. It's finding support on the 20 period moving average, right? But because it's already pierced through this 20, I'm expecting to see it continue down here. So this is, again, I'm looking to purchase. Yeah, I'm definitely looking to purchase Doge around these lower areas down at that 7 cent, potentially 6 cent area here, and then to see it rally back up to that 22, 21 cent. So I'm looking for maybe a 3x to a 4x as it continues up. Again, you guys, as normal viewers who pay attention, who watch us, oh, Pepsi's up. All right, that's what's up to our normal viewers and a bunch of new viewers that we have today, right? I would sit there and say for you guys, look, come through, check out this stuff.
Welcome, Bobby Holmes. Thanks for joining us.
Hit that,
smash that like button, share this broadcast, and if you get the Pepsi crew over here, we'll talk about their chart too.
Absolutely. Most importantly, though, as we're looking at this, and I think it's really interesting to look at, this is really, as we come down into Doge in these lower levels, Doge is one of those coins that it may not hold a lot of power over the broad market, but it's more of an indicator like the Russell 2000. Okay, the Russell 2000 is more of a leading indicator. So this is what I like to look at Dogecoin as well as Shiba as it moves. Okay, so you can sit there and see that we went down first to go up. And if we do go up, I would look to see us tap that 11 cent area and then to continue down, right? Because we need to put in the supply wick. So we went down a little to go up. So we'll see what happens as we move forward. Now, Ton here literally just sold off. Like they were not even, like they barely came in. They tapped the 8 period moving average where sellers stepped in and sold off. Again, this is the monthly chart, right?
Oh, so those problems happen when your boss gets arrested.
Yes, absolutely. But this is the beginning of the month, right? So this is a movement from traders, right, that are happening. That's back in this level right here. So we saw on the first, right, as you guys can see, boom. Oh, that was when I was like, wait, what's going on? All right, here we go. You could see here on the first, man, it basically tapped the 8 period and just sold off. New money come in, and so they're going to push this down. I'm honestly expecting, and I'm excited about this because I want to buy Ton. I don't think that we're going to see much happen to Telegram. I mean, there's going to be a lot of stuff, but Telegram and with its ecosystem is too powerful.
Right, there's too many users. They can weather any storm.
I mean,
regulatory issues, that doesn't matter. Even if the United States said, we're banning that. They can't use Telegram. The rest of the world would be like, so what? We're using it. We got 900 million people using it.
Yeah, like I mean, well, it's a lot more. It's ridiculous how many they have, and I think with America banning them, it would actually even give them more prowessness of freedom of speech and the ability to be able to communicate, right? Like, so it's one of those things. I think even like I would sit there and be like, well, that's really rude. Like not just rude, but that's like really freedom of speech hindrance, right? Because people use that because of the end-to-end encryption. Whereas I guess Facebook has an end-to-end encryption, but I don't trust Facebook because we've already seen them work in conjunction. And even Mark Zuckerberg talked about, yeah, they made us give up the ghost to them, right? With the CIA.
Well, now, I mean, your Facebook, I don't know about
Wait, let me
Facebook
finish
Messenger.
Let me finish.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So sorry, guys. I just want to make sure because Tom has got a time limit here, so I want to make sure. So we'll talk about that in a minute, and we could talk about the thing that we talked about earlier before the show. So, but you can see the sell-off here coming in from it, and it's starting to pick up a little bit of steam. You can see with the seller volume as we start to come in here. So I hope that it put in a lower high to put in this lower low down into this $4.350 area, right? I think this is where we could see it, and potentially, if this could happen, again, this would be like a wet dream for me, like so much, right? Down into these lower levels of that $2.70 to that $2.27. Sorry, that was really hard to say. $2.27 area. This area would be like, oh my goodness, yes. So that would be for me a nice little dump, so I could pick up and get me really excited. What is it? What did Jesus Pedro got excited. You sold off. Tom, you sold up. All right, so let's check out here real quick. All right, let's check out Solana here. Solana here is tapping. We closed below this 8-period moving average. So now we should see it come back, tap the 150 area to then see it sell off down to our 92 area. So be ready for it to be coming down to go up to go down is what I would expect to see. So,
and if that comes back down into the 90s, I'll sell something to buy that.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. And even, I mean, again, if it does not hold here, the next spot is 16 because it was just a straight climb up. So this is like if it don't hold here, like legit, and I'm expecting to see it come down and test these lower lows here. Like, look, you got that $83 on the monthly area here. So I'm expecting us to see some tests of that 92 to that $83.79 area here on that. And then from there, we'll gauge what happens, right? But you've got a lot of stuff happening here on Solana. So at the beginning of this month here, seeing what we're doing of going down first or going up to go down first at the beginning of the month is an indication that we could see a good sell-off to come in and to push it back up. So that's what I'm expecting.
Here's my prediction for that. It's going to go up to test your resistance up there.
Yep.
Because Solana has their big event coming out.
You're right.
It's called Breakthrough, and they announce all this new stuff, and there's a fervor. Yeah. And frankly, a lot of people in the Solana community just put more money in because they know all this good news is happening. And then after that, if the market is just still kind of doldrumy, they are going to dump that shit, and it'll go all the way back down to that level you're talking about. People be like, there's a lot of people, some fat bags in Solana, and they'll be like, all right, the news is up, and it's time to take some profits, and all of a sudden the price will come down when everyone thinks like Pedro or like Jesus that it needs to launch. And they'd be like, see a little weakness, take the money, and then it'll just start liquidations.
That's a good way of looking at it.
Because Pedro, I'm pointing to the chart here between your lines and 60.
Yeah.
Or 16.
16, yeah.
And so there's nothing there to hold it. It just straight pumped in that time period because that's when FTX cleared up the bankruptcy issue. So people just bought like crazy. There's no trading history there. Once it gets down there, it's
It's
you
real.
can start hear that toilet flushing.
No, man. When it gets back down there, dude, I'm saving up, dude. Like I'm gonna load up, like, dude. And the institutions, this is when you should then start to hear about the, like, I would expect around, like, if it starts to sell off in this level, this is when the ETF, Solana ETF, really starts to get pushed, right? Like, I would expect that for them to sit. So again, watch. How many times have I talked about this stuff and then it actually happened? But like, if that would happen,
Yeah,
man,
I know.
like, so that would be amazing. This is when it'd be the smart time for them to talk about the ETF kicking in, and all of a sudden, then, because they're buying in. Once it hits down in these lower levels here, institutions are just like salivating, like dogs chasing like a pit bull after a meat truck, dude. It's like, ah! So like, what I would expect to see, dude. So this is where I would expect to see those things salivating. Anything below 40 to 20-ish, 16-ish, like, this is like, definitely is a no-brainer for him. So
Jesus says he bought at 12 and 14.
Oh, nice.
Very nice, very nice. And so obviously you need to make all your own decisions yourself, but after that goes up a little bit more and Pedro says it's going to go up and test that resistance, that's when you should be making some decisions.
Well, or if, like, I'm not going to tell you what to do. I mean,
nope.
If you want to hit me, I could talk what I would do, if that was me, but that's for another time. But that's a good area. That's a good entry to get in. I don't know if you're staking it, right? If you're staking it, then you're receiving income from that, and that's nice, right? So I would expect.
Hey, Seuss, you put a question mark on that. We're not going to answer that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going to answer that. We're just saying that Pedro's saying it's going to go up and it's go down, and you can use that information however you want.
So let's go ahead, and this is what I assume it's going to happen. I could be wrong. Again, this is educational, and oh wait, where is my? You don't have it going.
But yeah, I turned it on and off because it's been unhappy with the CPU load.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
So back on again.
All right. So in the same sense, this is where we see this market going. So Solana, when the price drops $5, you watch your market cap drop 100,000. It's crazy. Yeah, very much. Good point, Alpha. Good point. I forgot that too. Sorry. Oh, what did you forget? Would you forget? Daryl Lawton. Anyways, so let's keep moving here. All right. Boom. This is Technical Tuesday. Litecoin. Okay, Litecoin is really interesting because we're seeing a lot of stuff really pick up on the Lightning Network, and we're seeing a lot of transactions going on with it. So for me, as I'm looking at this,
Lightning Network doesn't have anything to do with Litecoin.
Really? I thought it was.
Lightning's a level 2 Bitcoin network.
I feel like an idiot. There you go. I thought Litecoin, LTC, was connected to Lightning Network.
Daryl says he forgot that it wasn't financial advice. No, it turns out we actually have a complete brokerage license and advisor license in Madrid, Spain. So you're good to go, Daryl. No, we don't.
Oh, he does, right? I forgot. Yeah, he does have his.
No, I was thinking about us.
Oh, got it. Got it. All right. I talk all you guys' advice. I take all you guys' advice as advice. Are above, 25, 30. So I mean, we have a lot of older crowd, and so us boomers and us Generation X and even late Generation Ys, right? We joke around a lot, right. We play around a lot. So,
but who's not joking is another hardworking guy in crypto, and that's our chat room moderator, Vincent.
Yeah.
Thanks, Vincent, for tuning in here. It's difficult for Vincent to tune in because he has to rely on the cell system in the little village of Nigeria where he is.
Mm-hmm.
And Vincent, as you can see from listening to Pedro and I, the market still sucks. And so there's not much going on. And pretty much every meme coin is a risk. Even our sponsors here at the Audit Chain and stuff that I was very bullish on 2 months ago is just in the absolute tank. Anyway, it's been tough out there. Morning, Space Cat. Thanks for joining us.
What up, Space Cat?
My sound effect system isn't working today, and I'm not about to relaunch it. So, Space Cat, Space, the final frontier.
Dude,
Space Cat joined Pedro for Full Rant Friday and a long talk
Yeah.
last week. Thank you very much for your time doing that. Appreciate it, Britt.
Absolutely. Appreciate that a lot.
Pedro, I do need to get going.
I know. I'm trying to get through
call
this.
coming
Yes. So, long story short, you can see right here, USDD is still strong. They are actually going through and holding on to the $1 mark area here. And I got to give it just the sun. Now, let's continue this here with us because this adds transactional fees to them. And people do sit there and they stake this or they validate this and allow money to come through their system. So, it respected them. Now, let's check out Matic. Matic Poly. I'm expecting to see this move down even further, right? We saw it go up a little. I'm coming down. And so I'm expecting to see this before we see a push up on that daily zone. You can see the 8 period down at this lower level here. I think we're going to cut through this level here into this week and next week and potentially stop out everybody below this level here and see him come back and test this 8 period. So that little area here is really important to be looking for it. I do expect to see a sell-off at these lower levels. Let's check out DOT. DOT is still continuing down. We came back, tested the 8. Now we're following it as we're coming down, expecting it to go below this low here. Let's check out AVAX. AVAX is playing that 8 period moving average, which is similar. But again, we put this zone here, which is sitting at that 21 to 20-ish area. I think we're going to cut through this because there's no demand wick at these lower levels. So I'm expecting us to get down to that $18 to $15 mark area into next week. Let's check out Shiba Inu. Shiba Inu.
Shib.
Mr. Beast, Taylor Swift, Swifties. As we start to play here, you can see here that we're playing off of that 8 period moving average. Again, much like AVAX here with no real demand zone. Of the previous candle. Again, I'm expecting to see this come down. Let's put up where we could potentially take a trade off this level here. Give me 1 second here. Boom. In between right here into these levels here. So you could potentially take a trade off of the 04112 to that area that I'm looking to be buying at these lower levels of the 041 to the 059-ish area. All right, so that's it in a nutshell for the top 10 coins here. Any questions for you guys? Please shoot me. Pedro can handle it. Absolutely. But the key is guys, is when you're looking at these aspects of the market, right? The market always is right. So if you're in a trade, make sure that you put your stop in, okay? Do not get in on these trades without putting stops in. And this is all financial and educational, or excuse me, this is all educational and not financial advice. Please hear me out when I say this, okay? We do not have any type of legalese. I do not have any type of certifications for this. So again, this is not financial advice. All right, anyways, so enough of that silliness. Dude, we got through this, man. We got through this. I know you got to go, you know?
I do have to go. I got a few minutes here, but not a few minutes, but a few seconds or so. Daryl says August and December are always down, dead months.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, they are. It's human patterns. I mean, humans follow patterns in the year. They're, especially people that are our demographics on our show kind of mirror that of crypto. 25 to 42-year-old male is a majority of the demographics, and they fit right into that demographic of either not having kids but working at a job that follows certain vacation patterns. Like August, all of Europe takes off. They just go F off for a month. Canada, same thing. They're just like, well, nobody cares if I work or not anyway here, so I might as well take the month off.
Yeah.
And then December, as we get into the holiday months, same thing too. And if you have kids, those are vacation schedules too and stuff like that from school. So the volume suffers. And no different. I swear to God, the past couple of days I spent a lot of time on X talking about stuff. Watching people have misinformation and this type of stuff. I like listening to Ryan McBeth on YouTube about how misinformation spreads on the internet.
Yep.
And I swear, over Sunday night, there wasn't much going on. And then you wake up in the morning. We got up at like 6 a.m. Central Time here, so 7 a.m. Eastern Time, and the volume of like bot and misinformation stuff just starts climbing. Now I realize a lot of that comes from Russian accounts and efforts, which will start earlier in Europe time. But just people going back to work say, well, I'm going to go back and sit in front of the computer and troll people. They follow a pattern. You're like, all of a sudden, the X this morning is just filled with idiots, morons.
Trolls.
Yeah, just people that just like comment, oh, yeah, well, it's illegal to do that. And you're like, no, it's not illegal to do that. Or it's like, well, why don't you just go do that? Because you go to jail. It's very frustrating, but I love, you can tell when it's a complete troll account because you respond with facts and they don't answer you.
Yeah. Well, and also, I mean, like you said, for them, it's all about engagement. If they can get something to go viral and really get people to just be stupid, like I said, so you just go back and look at their previous posts and you're like, oh, yeah, this guy, okay, it makes sense.
It's like a good one today is that Elon posted something again. And the trolls come out to bug Elon. And they're mostly either just dumb people or the foreign governments interfering and stuff like that. And there's a common graphic that people put out. I'd bring it up here, but not enough time. That they call him, he's just lucky and riding a wave. He doesn't actually do anything. He didn't invent Tesla. He didn't invent PayPal. He didn't invent SpaceX. He didn't do all this kind of stuff. And you just look at these people and you're like,
why are you?
I mean, is it true? Did he invent PayPal? No. His company, X.com, a banking company, merged with PayPal when there was about 3 employees. And it was worth nothing. And then they took it to hundreds of millions and he sold and made a ton of money. Did he found Tesla? Was he the founder of Tesla that started it? No, he bought Tesla. Which was a development company not making anything, with just an idea. And he said, I can make this work. Mm-hmm. And the owner of Tesla said, I can't make this work, so I'd love to sell it to you. And he took it from a little idea with no running cars or anything to this, multi-trillion-dollar behemoth or whatever its market cap is now. And it's arguably changing the world because of the growth of electric vehicles. And then he used money from all those things to start SpaceX, completely revolutionizing the space industry.
Revolution. And not even remotely even playing.
He is too soft of a word.
Dude, he is disrupted it and slammed it, drop kicked it and booted it, picked it back up, catching it and booted it again outside of the stadium. Sorry, go ahead. He's
changed and whatever Pedro just said, triple it. Dude, and then he says, oh my God, I there's parts of the world where we can't talk. So he starts a whole satellite communications company. Invents this thing, has his own rockets, put it up in space, and the man sends his own car into orbit around the sun.
Right?
Around the sun. Dude, not just in low Earth orbit where the Virgin plane goes. He sends the thing around the sun, and like a phalanx of astronomers are hunting every day for it. On telescopes to see when it passes by Mars again.
Oh man, it's so good. Dude.
And the people are like, "Oh, he's done nothing." You're like, if you're a troll account, I get it. You're just trying to influence opinion. But if you're a real person, and you don't understand the influence that someone has on life, human-altering shit.
Yeah.
There's people with ALS now that can talk and move the computer.
I was gonna say, dude, you didn't even talk about. Yes, I'm sorry. You get me excited, dude. Like,
right? I know.
Talk about Neuralink, dude. Like, Neuralink is literally
going to change everything for everyone that's a shut-in on the planet.
Dude, it's gonna be insanity, dude. It's going to change educational at a fundamental level because it will be like, okay, I know kung fu, hiya, on a fundamental level. Like, I will sit there and go, I want to learn XYZ. Let's plug in, boop, like matrix status. Like, it may not be like that now, but in 20, 30 years from now, and
absolutely 1,000%. I mean, it's like I just have a hard time dealing with people that don't understand it. I even had someone close to me for a while, not close like Mr. Striking close, but they were like, oh, that Elon, he's just this and that. And I just systematically went through it and told them what I just told. And now they're his biggest fan. I was like, do you know how much money his companies have paid in tax? They're like, he doesn't pay any taxes. I'm like, it's billions and billions and billions. In fact, he just left California altogether so he could pay less taxes, but it's still billions.
Dude, which was the stupidest thing California could have ever done.
They had to rewrite the legislative session had to go and sit again and rewrite the budget because he left.
Like this dumbest thing of just like the woke crazy. I'm not talking Democrats as in like the centralists. I'm talking the far left that are so far that they've literally alienated. They're willing to eat. I think Joe Rogan talks about the serpent eating the serpent. Like it's crazy. And I think I have a friend of mine who is a Democrat, and he's just like, I can't, like, I've got to go Republican because these guys are so far. It's like I can't get behind that. Like that's just insanity. And they're like, I want to give to the Kamala. I want to give to the.
All right, Pedro, we got seconds here left. Don't forget, Marky Mark says, don't forget to swing by Pedro's to get your keys later tonight. Great stream, fellas.
Dude.
Thank you, Marky Mark, for watching. I really appreciate it.
Man.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've had a great show today on behalf of Pedro Garcia and myself here. I appreciate all of you that watched and commented and participated today and helped share everything that we do here. Thanks a lot to everybody, and we'll see you again tomorrow. So
tomorrow, 12 o'clock or 12:15 Eastern Standard Time or daylight, whatever it is.
As they say, be there.